I consider myself a very special man, lucky if you will. My personality is a little quirky. I've never been able to connect with other people. Being an introvert, I don't possess the social skills learned through interactions with others. All of my life, I felt alone until that day I first saw Lindsay. I never felt so drawn to someone. She was amazing, like an angel sent just for me. I immediately knew we would be together for the rest of our lives. It was like every time she smiled, it was just for me. No one else in the world mattered. I get it, I'm pouring it on pretty thick. But if you could see Lindsay the way I do, you would totally understand. I've been with her for a year. Our anniversary is in about a week. I've planned a secret surprise for her. She's gonna be so happy. I got up the other morning. She was already in the kitchen making coffee. Her long caramel highlighted hair rolled down her shoulders like a waterfall. As she turned and smiled, my morning was complete. I just stared. She let out a morning yawn and said, "Oh, I better get the kids up." She's so punctual, always worried about being late for something. As I looked into the kids' room, she was frantically getting them ready. Ben and Joey are twins. They're 6 years old, but have opposite personalities. Ben is a busybody, always on the go like his mama, where Joey is quiet and more reserved like me. The boys aren't mine, but I love them as much as if they were. You might even call me overprotective, but I wouldn't care. I'd never let anyone hurt them. "Anyone home?" a woman's voice called from the front of the house. "Yeah, Ma, we're in the boys' room," Lindsay replied. Lindsay's mom, or Nana, as the boys like to call her, arrives each morning at exactly 7:15 to take the boys to school. I swear, you could set your watch by her. I'm sure that's why Lindsay tries so hard to be on time. She's not that focused of a person, but she tries really hard, and that's good enough for me. After breakfast, Nana loaded the boys in the car, and they were off. Lindsay plopped down in her favorite kitchen chair with her coffee, French vanilla. She loves that stuff. Normally, she sits and enjoys the quiet, but today she had something on her mind. She needed to talk about work, she said. Apparently, there's a new guy named Steven, and he's acting inappropriate and suggesting things that him and her should do. Things that I won't even repeat. Instantly, I felt my blood boil. I became so enraged, I don't even remember the rest of what she said. I just knew Steven would regret the day he took that job. The rest of the day, I couldn't focus on anything. I just knew I need to pay Steven a visit. Lindsay's work backed up to an alley. It was very dim, and the only people that went out there were the men who had to smoke. The women smokers went out front because the alley had a creepy feel to it. I hid in the alley during work hours to see if Steven was a smoker. To my delight, he was, and the first one to light up in the morning. It was as if a greater power knew he needed to be corrected. All night I plotted my attack. First thing in the morning, I hid behind a dumpster. The dumpster was full, and there was garbage stacked on either side. This made it difficult to conceal myself from view. I feared a garbage truck might pull up and reveal my hiding spot. Like clockwork, he came out for his morning smoke. With his back toward me, I hit him in the back of his head with my fists. Before I could see his face, he fell to the ground. I began kicking him as hard as I could. As he rolled over, I saw the look of panic on his face. "She's mine," I yelled. My rage completely consumed me. To steps to my right was a pile of old computer equipment that was to be taken by the garbage men. I reached down and grabbed an old computer tower. It was surprisingly heavy, with 8 very pointed corners. With a firm hold of it, I jumped on top of Stephen and began smashing the computer tower on the pavement next to his face. With each blow, I felt the tower get closer and closer to his face. I felt the tenseness of his body. I stood up and told him to learn how to talk to a lady. Then I walked away, not once looking back. He was left with the garbage, and I felt that to be appropriate. When I got home, I had to shower quickly before anyone came home. Afterwards, I laid down and took a nap. Lindsay got home first. She was absolutely frantic about what happened to Stephen. She said he'd been attacked in the back alley and no one knew why. I stayed perfectly silent and just listened. By the time Nana brought the boys home, not another word of it was said. If the boys overheard something like that, they could be scared for life. I wanted so badly to let her know it was me, and I did it for her. But then I thought, real heroes don't do it for the recognition. They just do it, and that's what I did. After about a week, she didn't seem to want to talk about it anymore. I was happy for that because honestly, I was getting tired of hearing about it. I thought to myself, Saturday is our anniversary. It's not like a wedding anniversary. It is the day Cupid put a bullseye on this guy's heart. I think she could use a surprise. You know, something to let her know she's truly loved more than anyone on this earth. Saturday evening, while laid in bed rehearsing the words a man says when he's ready to commit, I was so nervous I had to lay perfectly still. I wanted her to fall asleep, then awake to my kiss on her soft lips. It would be perfect. I carefully kept looking to see if she'd fallen asleep. Finally, she did. I had to be perfectly quiet so I didn't wake the boys. Over the past year, I had memorized where every creaky floorboard was. I cautiously navigated them. Finally, I had made it to her bedside. As I stood over her, I thought to myself how she looked like an angel so peacefully asleep. I stood for a few minutes. I just couldn't wake her. Suddenly, a scream came from the hallway. "Daddy, there's a man in your bedroom." The broken silence set me on high alert, not knowing what was happening. I turned to see Joey in the hallway screaming and pointing. In a split second, a massive force hit me from the dark. We fell to the floor. He struck me repeatedly. I tried to fight back, but it was clear I was losing. After a few more hits to the face, everything went dark. I must have gone out for a while. I awoke to a large man in a police uniform slapping me in the face. "Come on, dirtbag, wake up. You're not going downtown in a cushy ambulance. You don't deserve it. Wake up, you piece of garbage," he said. The street was lit with red and blue lights flashing in every direction. Despite the pain of my beating, I tried to pull away from the man. That's when I realized my legs and wrists had been handcuffed to an ambulance gurney. I couldn't move. He got in my face and said he found my makeshift bedroom in the attic, and all my little peepholes I drilled through the ceiling throughout the house so I could watch. Then he smacked me again and asked what makes me think I could do that. "By the looks of your little room, it looks like you've been up there for a while." He smiled and said he couldn't believe her husband didn't kill me. If I were standing over his wife, I'd be in the coroner's van. With a final shove, he told me to count my blessings, then called me a sleazy pervert as he walked away. I closed my eyes to the image of Lindsay, From that day forward, the memories would be all I'd have. But when I get out, and I will get out, Lindsay will have the life I've